Developed by Jo-Mei Games under the EA Originals banner, Sea of Solitude has been a hotly anticipated title since its initial announcement at last year's E3. Telling a very personal story of loneliness, depression, and a whole host of our darkest emotions that we generally try to hide from the public eye, Sea of Solitude captivated us as a community for its promise of an honest, uncensored look at the melancholy side of the human psyche. Jo-Mei Games handles the subject matter in a beautiful way, but if you're someone sensitive to the topics of loneliness, depression, and the range of emotions and personal struggles associated, feel free to skip to the end of the review for a simple recap of the game. Mental illness as a whole is not an easy topic to discuss or portray well in media. Sea of Solitude, however, is a visionary project which, while short in runtime, crams every single nook and cranny full of impactful metaphors and other somber, poetic imagery. The protagonist, Kay, begins her journey on a small lifeboat out at sea, lost and adrift. In the opening minutes of the game, you'll learn everything you need to know mechanically of how Sea of Solitude works. Fire a flare to find your next objective, absorb the darkness that plagues the light, and of course your basic jumping ability. There are 2 collectible types to gather, with the far more interesting one being the messages in a bottle. These messages are left from yourself the previous times you had been here, referencing the last time Kay fell into a deep depression lost inside her own mind. The monsters Kay encounters, while not explicitly named, are manifestations of her own self-loathing and that uncomfortable voice in the back of her mind, taunting her with insults, sneer remarks to end her own life and to give up on ever trying to help anyone. The imagery and dialogue blend together to create an unfortunately beautiful portrait of what it feels like to be locked in depression and entirely lonely. The drab darkness, floating endlessly, being alone with only your thoughts, memories, and regrets. The trials Kay goes through on her journey are crushing realizations and suppressed memories as she slowly remembers the truth of what happened to her loved ones. I admit that after the first few chapters, I needed to turn the game off and play something with senseless violence and pounding music because the narrative is crushingly impactful to anyone who's experienced these feelings of depression and self-loathing. Aesthetically, this game hits every mark to keep up with its theme. When in the light, buildings are vibrant, soft colors with a beautiful sea and pleasant music. In times of sorrow, it quickly changes to drab darkness and rainfall. The monsters of Kay's mind appear as massive shapes with almost no definition except their glowing eyes. Even the fact Kay remains on rooftops and only ever touches the ground to relive memories speaks volumes about her seclusion within her mind. It's both beautiful and heart-wrenching at the same time. While I won't give away the ending to the game because it's a key to the journey as a whole, it does bring the narrative to a satisfying close. While this all-encompassing narrative is everything we wanted and expected out of Sea of Solitude, I am wondering if making it into a video game was the best medium of choice. While it helps engage the player to put them in control of Kay, the gameplay component is a little too simple to say the least. With little to no puzzle solving, the game breaks down as a glorified walking simulator. This is definitely not a game for combat, but including complex visual and auditory puzzles could have made the experience that much greater. I do want to reiterate that the narrative, subject matter, and voice acting are all an immaculate experience and well worth your time, but from a gameplay perspective, it isn't quite what it could have been. Sea of Solitude is a short but impactful, memorable experience that treats the subject matter of depression, loneliness, and mental illness with both respect and honesty. At times, the content may hit a little too close to home, but pushing through the pain and reaching the end of the game is a satisfying and worthwhile experience. It is, however, only the game's powerhouse storytelling that holds it together, as mechanically it's a lot of walking with some minor platforming. There is a lot of potential for some innovative and memorable puzzles here, but the game's heavy focus on its emotional narrative detracts from it being, well, a game. If you're playing Sea of Solitude, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the review, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to COGconnected for all things gaming. And for news, reviews, features, and more, visit us online at COGconnected.com.